All right. We are live with the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we want you to prosper and be in health. My name is Jason Steves. I'm the clinical account specialist for Perk Integrative Health, and I am joined by Steve Steves, a certified clinical nutritionist and naturopath. He is the owner and operator of Nutrition and Health Center. And I am glad to be with you today. Steve, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm blessed and highly flavored. Excited to be here, excited for this topic. The whole month of December and January, we're focusing on detox. And today, specifically, though, getting into that discussion of excitotoxins, neurotoxins, things that
Mm,
damage the nervous system, damage the brain, put us at risk for neurological degenerative conditions. You see the signs of it, like signs of anxiety, depression, forgetfulness, foggy thinking. That's all a
mhm.
sign that those brains need a lot of support. So I'm looking
That's
forward to
right.
getting into the material. There's some good stuff here today.
That's right. Yep. So the title of the show today is, what is that title? Boost your family's mental health with these nutrition tips. We're going to be focusing a lot on the toxic load that we're experiencing in our life today and how we can help our bodies to detoxify and to be healthier, to avoid. Obviously, one of the efforts we take is try to avoid the toxins as much as possible, but we can also nourish the body to help it to remove those toxins and be efficient at that process of removing those toxins. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking about nutrition tips, food tips, supplements, and some other strategies. So stay tuned. And we're also going to be sharing a coupon code at the end of the show so that you can get a discount on the supplements that we talk about today. But if you guys have questions, remember to type it in the chat. We've got a little chat next to the video here. We want to answer your health questions. We are answering some common health questions around the topic that we're addressing today. But if you have related questions or questions that are from a different topic, we don't mind addressing those as well when we have time near the end of the show. But stick around, wait for that coupon, type in a question. We'll address those questions for you. But thanks for joining us and buckle up for the ride. So the first thing that we've got here is an article that we looked at, neurotoxins in our diet, what you need to know. So that's a big issue that we've obviously seen over the years. Steve, what is your input on that topic?
Well, ever since I was introduced to Dr. Russell Blaylock's book called Excitotoxins, A Taste That Kills, uh, became very aware of the fact that there's chemicals that the the food industry puts in food so that food tastes exciting.
Hmm.
It stimulates your central nervous system for excitation, and that drives us back to that food. One of those elements is talked about in this article by Dr. Jaffe, and he's our mentor. So this
Mm-hmm.
article points out points that we've known for years, that one of those is MSG. And
Mm-hmm.
it monosodium glutamate. Glutamate is actually an excitatory neurotransmitter that your body uses for central nervous system stimulation, but it's the overstimulation that can cause things like seizures, brain fog, forgetfulness, anxiety, lack of sleep, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. So glutamate and monosodium glutamate is everywhere in foods, and you will notice all those kind of disruptive type symptoms as I just mentioned. But I had a girl that
Mm.
was 18 years old having seizures 3 times a week. That was being managed, she said,
Mm.
by medication, because she used to have them multiple times a day. And so she did a first month of detox and then only had one seizure in the entire month and came back and was really excited. She said, "Hey, I'm healed." And I said, "Well, zero seizures would be preferable." And so when we did a neurotransmitter test, we did find the glutamate was in excess. And by digging in deeply, looking at her herbs that she was using at home, because she wasn't going out to eat, she knew the dangers of it. And she was following very closely a healthy diet. Monosodium glutamate was the third ingredient in her lemon pepper seasoning. It had lemons, and peppers and MSG. As soon as she got rid of that, goodbye seizures. So
Wow.
the central nervous system is very sensitive to these neurotoxins that Dr. Jaffe does great in listing
Yeah.
in this article.
That's really neat. I had a question, Steve. I think sometimes it's helpful for us to address simple topics like you mentioned that she was managing it with, managing the condition. What what is that? What is that you've experienced in regard to people that come to see you who are managing the condition, and how is that different from how you help them to heal?
Good point, and that's the main reason why we do what we do today. When I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, they offered to manage that disease. They said they basically give you the label. This is you. We'll manage it with you, and you'll be in a wheelchair and you'll suffer all the miserable things about this disease. And I just refused to believe that. Something inside said, I don't think I'm created that way. The God of heaven is named Jehovah Rapha, which means I am the Lord who heals you. But he's a Lord, a God that wants partnership. He wants to be glorified in your body. But if you look at First Corinthians, it says, our bodies are his temple. And in order to glorify him in the temple, we want to give the body to him like a living sacrifice. That means in service. That means in serving him and others, but also in feeding the body according to his design. And so we get into a lot of detail about his design in foods and plant chemicals that are involved in helping remove some of these toxic compounds. He always makes a better way for that. But in getting specifically answering your question, Jason, managing a condition is what America has been about now since 1911, since the Flexner Report and the Rockefellers are wanting to make big money off of pharmaceuticals. And it's a fulfillment of what's written in Revelation 9, Revelation 18 about these sorcerers that practice witchcraft and the use of medications. And so managing conditions never allows for the body to heal and repair. And we want to get to the underlying problem, like this finding of glutamate for this woman. But not only did she have excessive glutamate, and many people have this, overstimulation, but undernourishment in the area of calming neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA and neurotransmitter support such as taurine. And then the cofactors, the biochemical factors such as ascorbate and magnesium and B6 that are all involved in central nervous system transmission of neurotransmitters. That's why testing is so important to find out what are you sensitive to, like a lymphocyte response assay or a heavy metal test, which can be done with hair or can be done with a urine challenge, finding out where those metals are coming from, and just continue to detox support. That's why we're so focused heavily on this preparation for the new year and focusing on detox and allowing the body to do that. The body's trying to do it all the time, and we're always being subject to toxins, whether we realize it or not. The CDC says the average American over the age of 18 has 212 toxins in their bloodstream. This is what they test for. 90% of them do over the age of 18 at any one time. And so these are things like in the BPA, bisphenol, plastics, and
Yeah, we have an article that we looked at that kind of touches on that in our blood, how the U.S. allowed toxic chemicals to seep into our lives.
Good. Yeah, that was a good find.
We've been educating people on that for many years. But this article says experts say that the majority of the 86,000 consumer chemicals registered with the Environmental Protection Agency have never received vigorous toxicity testing, which is very interesting. And that's only the 86,000 that are registered. But we know that there's so many more chemicals in our environment that are affecting our health that we just don't think about. People seem to be so focused on worrying about viruses that they're not even realizing what's really taxing and pulling health out of their body, which is these so many chemicals that we're dealing with.
Well, the industry downplays these chemicals saying, well, when you get them in the body, you're only getting tiny little molecules, parts per million, parts per billion. But it starts to accumulate, especially in people who are genetically susceptible to toxicity overload because their body doesn't efficiently metabolize toxins and remove them out of the body. And we can identify that by identifying the toxins. We had a girl come back from a missions trip, and she had been poisoned with lead over the summer. She stayed in some part of Russia, and her colon was not moving, and the doctors examined the colon, and it had turned black from lead, and they found lead contamination in her. So we began using the ascorbate vitamin C, our vitamin C max. There's nothing that can match it. It's in our detox program. It's in our neurological support, our brain support program. It's in every program. It's pretty much the big dog that has so many biochemical pathways that it's involved with. Interesting enough, God put ascorbate in all fruits and vegetables in Genesis 1:29. Now, that's not written there, but we know by examining fruits and vegetables, they all have a common nutrient of ascorbate. Now, they may not all have vitamin A in them or vitamin E or a particular phytonutrient. Many different foods have different characteristics based on different phytonutrients, but they all have vitamin C ascorbate, and which your body uses for connective tissue, for adrenal function, for nerve transmission, for detoxification. So many functional processes that take place require ascorbate to remove that lead. So this woman from Russia, she's contaminated. We start doing vitamin C cleanses, which is all a part of our detox program. Need to be doing those weekly as a minimum. Cleanse out the colon and get that vitamin C to work on some of these toxic materials. Vitamin C is very effective at removing lead from the body. This woman, now our vitamin C comes in small 8-ounce and 16-ounce bottles. She was using two 16-ounce bottles in 1 week to flush. That's how much she would take on a daily basis, literally tablespoons every 15 minutes for hours to get the colon to move. And it took her about 3 months to get to what we would consider an average normal amount. You take maybe 3 or 4 teaspoons and you get that flush. And she was able to clear that colon. They went back and looked at the colon with an endoscope, and there was a normal looking colon once again with all that lead removed. Pretty fascinating story.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting you were talking about that, Steve, is because we have an article here that people can look at that can help them see that lead poisoning is an issue. The World Health Organization has talked about it. It's something that people are dealing with, and sometimes they may not even know. So, lead can be pretty harmful to the body, and mercury obviously as well. And so that's another heavy metal that people are being exposed to. Sometimes they don't even realize. One of the ways that people are being exposed to that is through shots, through getting jabbed. And so that's something that's important to discuss as well, is the effect of mercury on our system. I think we were going to touch on that in regard to the toxicity of that. Where was that? The video. Remember,
Yes.
you share a video of how mercury is really harmful to our nervous system and our nerve cells.
That's a YouTube video called brain neuron degeneration.
You can look it up, how mercury causes brain neuron degeneration. We're going to put the link in the bottom details of the video. And so you'll have the link there if you're watching the recording. But we're going to play a bit of it here. And Steve, will you do commentary for us as we play this video?
Yeah. So right here, we're looking at the neurite processes that's done through an animation. They're showing how neurites grow in the body. Your nervous system grows and learns. They're called growth cones. They're made with certain proteins, actin, and what's the other one there?
Is it myosin?
Yeah, and myosin. So as these proteins grow, they form around the tubulin that wraps around on the inside of your myelin sheath, which is a fatty layer that has fatty acids and protein links. And you see that nerve fiber, kind of like a wire that's insulated inside a casing. And here's an actual picture of a live neuron that is similar to humans in other animal species that they're able to derive this. You see
And
the
it's
growth
growing.
cone.
Yeah.
It's growing, and they're going to inject a small fragment of mercury onto this slide. You can see the time speed up there. And when they inject this mercury over that time speed, you will see in real time, 1 second is
So
equivalent
it's
to 30 seconds.
growing.
Then you see at the end of those nerve fibers,
Yeah.
those growth cones,
It's
and
growing.
the mercury is then introduced, and you watch it start to wither up and form what are called, you could freeze it right there, denuded neurofibrils. These
Wow.
denuded neurofibrils are what are found. It looks like little wires or hairs
Yeah,
sticking
yeah.
out there. These are what are found in Alzheimer's disease brains. They don't see any other link to any other heavy metal other than mercury. And of course, these are what are preservatives used in vaccines and also in silver amalgam fillings, which they stopped using. Now, some may be using it in different parts of the world, but mercury is contaminating. Also, when we burn carbon fuels, coal-fired power plants off gas methylmercury, and that, of course, gets in our air. Lead is in our air, and there's just a lot of contaminants that we have to deal with. The burning of gasoline, or actually jet fuel still has lead in it. And there's a lot of jets flying every day overhead, and you get a lot of that lead contamination coming from jet fuel. So we do need to detoxify. It's so important if you want to live a long and healthy life. We built our business on detoxification. It was a thing I learned early that grabbed me the most, and why I thought you can help people lose weight with this. You can help people receive
Right.
better cognitive function. You can see people improve their digestion by detoxifying junk out of the colon. You see people improve their nervous system, hormones, every part of the body benefits when you detox.
Right.
So what have you got to lose? You've got
Yeah.
everything to gain.
Yeah. Well, and
And
I think, I mean, you obviously noticed the result when you were supporting your detox pathways when, dealing with the autoimmune condition that you were dealing with and exposures to chemicals and medications that were taxing your health.
yes.
And so you started to support that. Your body started to get better. And then people were asking you, like, what do you do? And they were saying, teach us about what you've learned. And that's when you kind of started really getting into nutrition and teaching people about nutrition. And then you just kind of helped people do what you knew worked, which is a big part of that is helping the body, supporting those detox pathways so that the body can detoxify. One of the things that I was thinking about regarding this topic is a lot of people today, especially even in the natural health community, are being told that they have a genetic inability to detoxify. It's almost like they think that they're not able to detoxify because of their genetics. And so, how would you help someone understand that topic a little bit better, so that they can know what they can do about improving their detoxification system?
Well, it's a simple understanding that God made us perfect in every way. The environment has caused us to have what we call epigenetic diseases. So 92% of all diseases are linked to our environment and how it's affecting us. But which people are more susceptible than others to specific diseases has to do with their genetic makeup. Some have stronger areas to be able to detoxify. Some are much weaker, but everybody has the ability to detoxify. Everybody has the ability to methylate. There's no such thing as people that completely can't methylate or can't detoxify. We just enhance as many pathways of support as possible so that the person that's suffering is no longer suffering. They can find health, they can find restored vitality and renewed youth. That's a promise of God. He wants to be glorified in your body and your soul and your spirit. It's a promise that he has in sanctifying you. He set you apart for that. Now
Right.
give your life to him, set it apart to him, and watch great and crazy, wonderful things happen.
Right. Well, thanks, Steve. Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is that if we support our natural detoxification pathways, the biochemical pathways that exist in every person for detoxification, if we support those pathways with proper nutrition, then no matter what genetic, issue someone's having, they will improve their detoxification. Correct?
Simple. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right.
So what obviously we are here because we've been doing that with people. How would you, I mean, I think this is a good segue into talking about our detox bundle, our brain bundle, and so would you like to share a little bit about those bundles? I can show it up on the screen here. These
Definitely.
are what I'd like to say real quick before we jump into that is there are 7 proven steps that we've put together, a guidebook that's free for you to download. Supplements is one of the 7 proven steps. Food, hydration, which is, our water intake, movement or exercise, sleep, stress management, and then faith and family, along with supplements. Those are the 7 proven steps. And so if you go to prospernutrition.com, you can download that guidebook for free, start working on improving your detoxification pathways by optimizing those 7 proven steps in your life. But as far as getting some results quickly, supplements can really help you start getting results within days and weeks. This detox, our bundles, our products are able to last about 30 days or more. And so that's a good start. But a lot of times it's important for them to continue to follow the regimen for 6 months, a year, 2 years, until they really start noticing a drastic change in their biochemistry for a long run, because they need to implement these changes in their life and realize that it's a change in lifestyle and see that healing come around. Because like you had been dealing with, people are dealing with stuff for years and even decades. And so the healing process is not something that, it's not like just you feel this bad issue or feel pain and you just try to get rid of it. It's actually transforming your body, making new tissues.
Good word. Yeah.
And so that nutrition is important, and supplements are a big part of that process that we've found that help people change that. So I'll share the screen here. This is the detoxification bundle that has 5 products included in it. And
And you
Steve, you
see
talked a little bit about ascorbate.
right
Go
there,
ahead.
center stage, ascorbate. Pure Omega is on the right there, the first one. We need fatty acids for the membranes to allow toxins to pass in and out of body systems. Then on the far right is liver detox, so a sulfur supportive compound that really activates the removal of heavy toxic compounds that build up. The liver is a primary organ that breaks tissue toxins down. And then the brain detox to help to transport out of the brain some of those chemicals that are very toxic or neurotoxic to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the liver protect could better be put down as an overall body protect. It protects all organ systems and cells, but it has a special emphasis on some of the liver tissue, which is also having to handle these toxins. And a lot of people have elevated liver enzymes, maybe not to the level that the doctor says is excessive, which is a lot of people, because they may have ALT or AST enzymes in the mid 30s, low 30s, which is indicating liver inflammation and a need for liver repair. And we could have called that liver protect, liver repair. We could have called it a number of things, but it's a superpower formula that often sells out when we have sales. It's tough to keep on the shelf.
Yeah.
The brain bundle is incorporating some additive support here. The brain detox, of course, is in there. But magnesium is added. Magnesium is also a natural chelator or binder of toxic metals. I didn't use that term yet. Many people may have heard that term. It's spelled Chelate. Chelate comes from the Greek that means like a claw, and literally allows certain chelating compounds. These are ionized forms of magnesium that bind metals and help to excrete toxic material. You see the pure omega-3 again. And then a little added feature of having the cell energy, which is choline citrate. Choline helps with fat emulsification. The heavier toxins want to be pushed out through the gallbladder and through the colon. The body does that in protection of the kidneys. And so if you've done say a urine challenge test and you've looked for heavy metals and didn't see much in the urine, no wonder of that. Most of it's being pushed out through the gallbladder, and the cell energy really does activate that. It emulsifies fats so you can take up your good fats and activate cell membrane transference of energy and removal of toxins, of course. And then the B12 Max to help with the methylation, to make sure that that communication within all networks is working well. And it also provides some B6 in there, which helps with nerve transmission, definitely keeping that neurotoxic effect of chemicals from building up in the body.
Yeah, well, and I'll like to share this about that B12. A lot of people think that they need some methylated form of B12 if they're going to actually get it. And I'll tell you right now, it's definitely an industry promoted concept. And yes, while our body needs support in order to be able to methylate better, the body needs to take that B12 and make the methylated B12, or else there's a risk for actually creating a binding effect with mercury. And most people aren't aware.
Hypermethylation. That's right.
Yeah. If there's too much methyl factors in your body from taking methylated B12, it can bind to mercury and create methylmercury that's harder for the body to break down and take out. It'll stick in your body more. So it's important to be aware of that and get the better form of B12, which is hydroxycobalamin, which, yes, that's right. Yeah, hydroxycobalamin, which is the form that we use in our B12 Max. That's the best way to do supplementation that we've found for people to really get lasting results in their detoxification and methylation.
Further note on that, Jason, I'm glad you brought that up. The Schilling test that reveals the amount of B12 in the bloodstream is not an effective test. You want to do a homocysteine test to find out if you're utilizing your methyl factors, your B12 and your folate, and if you need to increase that. If you measure B12 in the bloodstream, most of you that supplement B12, your doctor will go, you have too much B12 in your bloodstream. And the reason for that is it doesn't want to be in the bloodstream. It's water soluble. You keep taking it, and you pump up the enzymatic activity within the cell that utilizes it in the muscle cells. We don't want B12 in the bloodstream. We want it out of there. We want it into our muscle cells, activating mitochondria, which, by the way, the Liver Protect has some great support for mitochondria so that you can get more cell firing and higher amounts of energy. Energy is what the body wants for detox, for metabolic function. And most of you in the watching, I'm sure, would say, I'd like some more energy.
Yeah.
So go after it. Yeah. Do the 7 proven steps. You cannot say enough about those with food and water. I've got an article that's included in our up and coming brain blog that's going to be out. And in there, we're discussing how dehydration is linked to so many neurological conditions. So don't forget the water. People are dealing with all kinds of symptoms right now. It's colder weather. They don't feel like drinking water. You've got to pizzazz up that water a little bit, maybe put some electrolytes in it, do something to make you drink more water, because it's easy to avoid it in the wintertime. Your body doesn't seem to need it as much. You don't crave it as much, but you definitely need it.
That's right. Yes. So thank y'all for watching. This has been great. Steve, thank you so much for the information you've been sharing. I feel like a lot of times it's really hard to to help people understand how valuable and important and helpful this information can be if they apply it to their life. So take some time, go back through this video, listen to what we're saying, download the 7 proven steps, order the supplements. You get a 10% discount if you use the code for today, the coupon code. It's 122123 show. It's today's date, 12/21/23 show. You put that in when you're checking out, and that'll give you a 10% discount on the supplements. We know that you can start feeling results if you take these supplements consistently for a period of time, at least 30 days. We've seen people feel results within days of taking these nutrients. And so we want you to feel those results and prosper in health. So order the supplements, download the 7 proven steps, start living a better life now, even before the new year. You can get a head start and start feeling better today. So apply these to your life and you'll really feel a difference. If you have questions, send us a message, info@prospernutrition.com. You can also type in the comments. We'd be happy to respond to you in the comments if you want to share some questions or your thoughts. We're here for you, and we want to bring you this information, this really truthful and honest health information that can help you prosper and be in health. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Steve, so much for being here.
My
and
pleasure.
your expert health. You have any last words for the people?
Well, there is never a time when your body is not detoxifying all the way down to the cellular level. There are over 100,000 chemical reactions that happen between 70 trillion cells in your body every second of the day. Nutrition, lifestyle habits that we're sharing with you make the difference to make sure that you live a long, healthy life and live it disease-free so that you can be filled with that promise that God says, I will cause you to prosper and be in health.
That's good. Thank you all for joining us once again. Hope you have a good week. We look forward to connecting with you. We won't be here next week, but we will be back on January 4th, Thursday, January 4th, live at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every Thursday here at the Prosper Nutrition Show. Hope you all have a great time with your families, and we'll see you then.